I was 17 when I found out what my dad really was. It was a Saturday. I'd stayed late after work, dragging my ass through a long shift at the grocery store, smelling like old produce and floor cleaner. When I finally made it home, the house felt weird. Not quiet, it was always quiet, but wrong somehow, like I was walking into a room that had been staged after a robbery. I called out, just to hear my own voice. Mom? Dad? No answer. I dropped my backpack by the door and walked in. That's when I saw her. Mom was sitting at the kitchen table, hands wrapped around a coffee mug like she was bracing for impact. She didn't look at me. She didn't even blink. Her knuckles were white. I asked, trying to keep it casual, everything okay? She said, flat, fine. Long day. Then took a sip that didn't seem to reach her mouth. I knew something was off. I knew it like you know when someone's hiding behind a door, breathing too loud. But I didn't push it. I just nodded and headed upstairs. Halfway up, I heard it, the low rumble of Dad's voice, down the hall. His office door was closed. I could hear the muted thump of him pacing back and forth. I froze. He was on the phone. No, she doesn't know, he muttered, voice sharp. I handled it. You just need to keep your mouth shut, alright? It's not complicated. There was a long pause, the kind that made my skin crawl. Yeah, I love you too. I didn't move for a second. Just stood there, heart kicking hard against my ribs. It didn't make sense. None of it made sense. Who was he talking to? I backed down the stairs as quietly as I could, muscles buzzing with something that felt suspiciously like fear. When I got back to the kitchen, Mom was gone. The coffee mug sat abandoned, a deep brown ring staining the inside. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. Instead, I laid in bed replaying everything in my head. His voice. The way Mom looked. The fact that neither of them acted normal afterward, like they were actors who had forgotten their lines but just kept bluffing through the scene. By Monday, I couldn't take it anymore. I cornered her while she was folding laundry. Mom, I said, heart hammering, what's going on? She didn't even flinch. Didn't miss a fold. Just said, in a voice that wasn't hers, nothing you need to worry about. I felt this sick, hot anger rise up. Don't do that. Don't lie to me. She stopped folding then. Pressed her hand against the laundry basket like she needed the support. I know, I said, barely keeping my voice steady. I heard Dad. On the phone. Her shoulders dropped, like I'd punctured a lung she'd been holding full of air. I know he's cheating on you. She didn't deny it. Didn't even react at first. Then she smiled, but it wasn't real. It was the kind of smile you give a funeral director. I know, she said softly. I just stared at her. You know. She nodded. I caught him 6 months ago. The ground shifted under me. 6 months. Half a year. I'd been eating dinner across from him, laughing at his bad jokes, while he was out somewhere telling another woman he loved her. Why are you still here? I asked, my voice cracking in a way that made me hate myself. She didn't answer. She just picked up the laundry basket and walked away. Like that was the end of it. Like it was decided. I tried to let it go. Really. I tried. But every time I saw him, it boiled up again. His stupid smug face. His fake casualness. His little pats on the back, like he was some great dad. And Mom, shrinking a little more every day. That's when the idea hit me. It wasn't noble. It wasn't smart. It sure as hell wasn't what a good son would do. But it felt right. One night, after dinner, I cornered him in the garage. He was fiddling with his golf clubs, pretending not to notice me standing there. I said, "Lo, I know about her." He froze. Slowly turned, putting on that fake-ass grin he always used when he was lying. Know about what, sport? I laughed. Couldn't help it. It sounded hollow and mean. You think I'm stupid? I asked. I know everything. And I'm not gonna tell Mom. I let that hang for a second, watching the color drain from his face. But it's gonna cost you. He blinked, caught completely flat-footed. You're blackmailing me, he said, like he couldn't believe it. I shrugged. You're already paying for a second life. What's a little rent? He opened his mouth like he was about to lay into me, then shut it again. Thought better of it. I pressed him before he could grow a spine. $200. Every Friday. Cash. Or I go nuclear. He stared at me. I stared right back. Finally, he sighed, this long, sagging noise, and nodded once. And just like that, I became my dad's landlord. The first Friday, he tried to pretend it wasn't happening. He sat at the kitchen table drinking a beer, flipping through a golf magazine, acting like I didn't exist. Like I was gonna forget. I didn't even sit down. Just stood there, arms crossed. After about a minute, he sighed, real heavy, like I was the disappointment here. Reached into his wallet and peeled out 2 crumpled hundreds. Happy now, he muttered, slapping them down on the table. I took them without a word. That became our routine. Every week. Like clockwork. It should have felt powerful. It didn't. It felt ugly. Like dragging myself through mud that only got deeper. And he hated it. You could see it wearing on him. Little things at first, shorter temper, snide comments at dinner. One night, he said, real casual, you know, most sons are grateful to have a roof over their heads. I didn't even look up from my plate. Most dads don't cheat on their wives. Mom's hand trembled so bad she almost dropped her fork. But she didn't say a word. Neither of us did. We just kept chewing through the silence. By the 3rd week, he tried pushing back. Came into my room after midnight, reeking of whiskey. You think you're a tough guy, he slurred, leaning against my doorframe like he needed it to stand up. Think you can shake me down? I sat up in bed, heart pounding, but I didn't show it. I just stared at him. He stumbled closer, wagging a finger. You don't know anything, you little shit. You're out of your depth. Stay in your lane. I said, low, I know enough. He laughed, ugly and wet. You think you're saving her? You're not. She knew before you did. Hell, she probably knows about all of them. I flinched before I could stop myself. He saw it. Grinned wide, teeth gleaming in the dark. Yeah, he said, I'm not just a one-time offender, champ. You caught me 6 months late. You're not a hero. You're a chump. I wanted to hit him. I really, really wanted to. Instead, I pointed to the door. Get the hell out. He lingered, breathing heavy, like he wanted to say more. Then he shoved off the wall and stumbled back down the hall. I didn't sleep after that. I just laid there, staring at the ceiling, feeling something inside me rot and peel away. After that, the payments stopped being neat. He'd forget. He'd short me. He'd drop the money somewhere stupid, like under my cereal bowl, like I was a damn dog he was leaving scraps for. I stayed calm. I stayed steady. Until he didn't pay at all. It was Friday night. I waited, giving him every chance. He watched TV like nothing was wrong, shouting at some football game, pretending I didn't exist. Around 10, I stood in front of the TV. He leaned back on the couch, a lazy smirk playing on his face. You got a problem? He asked. I said, where's my rent? He laughed, full belly now. Real deep. You think this is real, huh? He said. You think you can extort your old man forever? Newsflash, I own you. You live here because I let you. You eat because I pay for it. You don't hold shit over me. I said nothing. Just stared at him, letting him get it all out. When he finally wound down, I asked, calm as hell, you sure you want to play it that way? He sneered. What are you gonna do? Tell her. I smiled. No. I'm gonna tell her. He frowned, confused for half a second, then paled. Because he knew exactly who I meant. The other woman. The one he'd promised everything to, in whispers behind closed doors. I'd found her. I'd found her Instagram, her job. I even knew where she lived. And I wasn't bluffing. His face twisted into something between rage and fear. You little bastard, he hissed. I shrugged. $200 a week, or I make a very messy phone call. We stared each other down. Finally, he pushed himself off the couch, digging into his wallet so hard I thought he'd rip it in half. Threw the bills at me like they were burning his fingers. I picked them up slow, deliberate, letting the humiliation stew between us. As I turned to walk away, he muttered, "You're no son of mine." I stopped in the doorway. Said over my shoulder, "You're right. I'm not." And left him sitting there, red-faced and shaking. It didn't stop there. It got worse. He started drinking heavier. Started picking stupid fights with Mom over nothing, burnt toast, laundry, bills. She bore it all with that same hollow calm, like she'd gone numb somewhere I couldn't reach. And me? I started looking for ways out. Because blackmailing your own father isn't sustainable. It's a slow-motion car crash, and eventually, something's gotta give. I just didn't know yet how hard it was gonna crash. And who it was gonna hurt the most. It was Mom's birthday when everything finally exploded. She didn't want a party. Barely wanted a cake. Just wanted to sit at home with Chinese takeout and a glass of wine, wearing the same ratty sweatshirt she wore every night. I offered to take her out somewhere, just me and her. Make it nice. She smiled, soft and tired. Maybe next year, honey. Dad got her a gift, if you could call it that. A gift card to Home Depot, still in the plastic bag. When she opened it, she didn't even blink. Just said, thank you, like a hostage reading a statement. I could barely sit still. Rage roiled under my skin, thick and hot, making my hands tremble. After dinner, Dad disappeared into the garage, pretending he had a project to work on. I found him out there, sitting on his stupid riding mower, scrolling through his phone. I didn't plan it. I swear I didn't. But something in me snapped clean. I walked up, stood right in front of him. You're a piece of shit, I said. He didn't look up. Just kept scrolling. Big words for a freeloader. I laughed, bitter and ugly. You think this is about the money? You think I care about your damn $200? He finally looked up. Smirked. Seems like you cared pretty hard when you were cashing it. I took a step closer, heart slamming against my ribs. I kept my mouth shut for Mom. Not for you. You don't deserve her. You never did. His face hardened, his fingers tightened around the phone. And what, you think you're some white knight? He sneered. You think you're saving her? I said, Lo, I'm saving myself. For a second, we just stared at each other. Then he smiled, slow and mean. You're just like me, he said. You pretend you're better, but you're not. You're a liar. A manipulator. You're a little blackmailer. You're mine. The words hit like a hammer to the gut. But I didn't flinch. I leaned in close enough to smell the stale beer on his breath. No, I said. I'm nothing like you. And then, without another word, I walked back into the house. Went straight to my room. Grabbed the folder I'd been keeping under my bed, the screenshots, the photos, the copies of his burner emails. Evidence. I texted Mom. Come to the living room. Now. She came, slow and cautious, wiping her hands on a dish towel like she already knew something was about to end. I didn't make a speech. Didn't build it up. I just handed her the folder. Her hands shook as she opened it. She flipped through the first few pages, face draining of color. Dad stumbled in behind her, smelling like sawdust and resentment. What the hell is this? He barked. Mom didn't answer. She just kept flipping pages. Finally, she spoke. Voice flat, drained. How many? Dad bristled. Don't start. How many? She said again, louder this time, the dish towel falling to the floor. He sneered. You really want to know? She stared at him. Silent. He shrugged. Enough. That single word cracked something in the air between us. Like the whole damn house shifted on its foundation. I stepped forward. You deserve better than this, I said to her, not even looking at him. Dad laughed, dry and cruel. She doesn't want better. She wants familiar. That's why she's still here. Mom didn't deny it. Didn't say a damn thing. She just dropped the folder on the coffee table and walked past us both, shoulders stiff, hands clenched into fists so tight her knuckles turned white. I heard the bedroom door slam upstairs. Dad turned to me, eyes wild. You happy now? He hissed. You broke her. I stared at him, feeling nothing. You broke her a long time ago, I said. He shoved past me, muttering curses under his breath, grabbing his keys off the counter. The front door slammed so hard behind him that a picture fell off the wall. I didn't pick it up. I just stood there, surrounded by the wreckage, feeling like I'd set a fire that couldn't be put out. The house stayed silent for a long time after that. Mom barely came out of her room. When she did, she moved like a ghost, avoiding eye contact, avoiding words. And me? I started packing. I couldn't stay. Not because I hated her. Not because I loved her any less. Because I couldn't breathe in that house anymore. It was poisoned. And no amount of loyalty was gonna fix it. I left 2 weeks later. No big scene. No hugs. No tears. Just me stuffing clothes into garbage bags, throwing my life into the back seat of my piece of shit Honda. Mom watched from the porch, arms wrapped tight around herself like she was trying to hold herself together. She didn't say anything. Neither did I. Because what was there left to say? She made her choice. And so did I. I crashed on a buddy's couch for a while. A guy I worked with at the grocery store. His apartment smelled like weed and dirty socks, but it was better than being suffocated in that mausoleum of a house. At first, it felt good. Free. Then the reality started sinking in. Working double shifts just to afford gas and ramen. Sleeping on a sagging couch that wrecked my back. Watching my mom's name light up my phone at 2 a.m. and ignoring it because I didn't have the strength to hear her cry. Freedom tasted a lot like loneliness. 3 weeks after I left, Dad showed up. I was hauling a pallet of soda cans in the back of the store when I heard my name barked across the loading dock. I turned, and there he was. Still wearing his work boots, dust coating his jeans. Arms crossed, jaw tight. I set the pallet jack down slow. "What do you want?" I asked, not bothering to hide the exhaustion in my voice. He stalked up, close enough that the other guys drifted away, sensing the tension. "You think you're a man now?" he said, voice low and hard. "You think walking away makes you better?" I didn't answer. Just stared at him, daring him to say what he really came here to say. He leaned in closer. I could smell the cigarettes on his breath. "You humiliated me," he hissed. "You made me a joke in my own house." I laughed, short and bitter. "You did that yourself." His eyes flashed. For a second, I thought he was gonna swing on me. I almost wished he would. Instead, he straightened up, sneering. "You'll come crawling back," he said. "They always do. The world's not gonna kiss your ass, boy. Out there, you're nobody." I smiled, slow and mean. "I'd rather be nobody than your son." He flinched, real quick, like I'd slapped him. Then he turned on his heel and walked out, shoving past a stack of boxes so hard they toppled over behind him. I stood there, heart hammering, hands shaking. Not from fear. From relief. Because for the first time, it felt over. Really over. After that, the silence between me and Mom stretched wider. A few texts, here and there. "Hope you're okay. Miss you." I didn't know how to answer. What do you say to someone who chose survival over self-respect? Who chose comfort over clean breaks? I wasn't mad at her. Not anymore. I just didn't know how to reach her. And maybe I never would. One night, around 2 in the morning, she called. I almost didn't pick up. But something told me to. Her voice was small. Broken. "I left him," she said. I sat up, heart thudding. "When?" "Tonight. I'm at a motel." Silence stretched between us, raw and shaking. "I'm proud of you," I said, my throat closing around the words. She started crying then. Not loud, just these little gasping sobs, like she was trying to apologize without saying it. "I'm sorry," she kept whispering. "I'm so sorry. I didn't say it was okay. It wasn't. It would never be. But I stayed on the line. Let her cry. Let her bleed it all out. Because sometimes that's all you can do. Stay. Hold the line. Even when everything inside you wants to run." She didn't ask to move in with me. She didn't even hint at it. She just needed to know someone still cared. That someone was still on the other end of the line. We talked for hours that night. About nothing. About everything. About how she'd known, deep down, for years. About how she'd buried it. Lied to herself so hard she started believing it. "I thought, if I just stayed quiet, it would stop hurting," she said, voice cracking. I closed my eyes, feeling that same old anger boil up. "You didn't deserve that," I said. "Neither of us did." Weeks passed. I found a cheap room to rent, a real bed to sleep on. Started piecing a life together. Mom moved into a small apartment across town. Started working part-time at a flower shop. She sounded lighter on the phone now. Not fixed. Not healed. But breathing. Living. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't even happy, most days. But it was real. And after everything, that was enough. A year later, I barely recognized my life. I had a real place now, tiny, ugly, mine. A mattress on the floor, dishes that never quite matched, a window that leaked cold air in the winter. But when I locked that door at night, it felt like safety, not prison. I worked full-time at the hardware store now. Not glamorous. Not what I'd dreamed about back when I used to stare at the ceiling, thinking I'd be something big. But it paid the bills. It kept me moving. Mom still lived across town, in a second-floor walk-up with peeling paint and a sagging porch. She grew plants now. Filled the little apartment with them, cactuses, ferns, vines that crawled up the windows like they were trying to escape. She sent me pictures sometimes, proudly showing off a new bloom like it was a miracle. In a way, it was. We didn't talk about him. Not because we made a pact, not because it hurt too much. Because he didn't belong in this new world we built. He became like smoke, something you smell sometimes on your clothes but can't touch, can't hold. Fading away without ceremony. I heard through some neighbor that he moved in with some woman out in the sticks. Someone younger. Someone who probably thought he was still a catch. Good for him. Good for her. I didn't care. Not anymore. Some nights, when the world got real quiet and my defenses slipped, I thought about those months, the blackmail, the tension, the way I stared down my own father like he was just another problem to manage. I wasn't proud of it, but I wasn't ashamed either. You do what you have to do to survive hell. Even if survival makes you someone you barely recognize. One Saturday, I met Mom for coffee. She looked different now, lighter. Wore her hair shorter, a little wilder, like she'd finally stopped caring what anyone thought. We sat outside under a crooked umbrella, sipping burnt coffee from paper cups, listening to the traffic hum by. She said, out of nowhere, "You saved me." I shook my head. "You saved yourself." She smiled at that, a real one this time, crinkling the corners of her eyes. For a long time, we just sat there, letting the sun warm our faces. Letting the silence be something good for once. I don't know if forgiveness is a thing you ever really feel. It's not a fireworks moment. Not a lump in your throat. It's quieter than that. It's standing across from someone who broke your heart in ways they'll never understand, and deciding not to let it own you anymore. It's packing your life into garbage bags and walking away, even when your legs are shaking. It's sitting in a crappy apartment with a leaky window and realizing you're still breathing. Still moving. Still you. Maybe a little more broken. Maybe a little more dangerous. But still standing. The last time Dad tried to reach out was a text, months ago. A simple one. "Happy birthday. Hope you're doing good." I stared at it for a long time, thumb hovering over the screen. Then I deleted it without answering. Because some fires, you don't put out. You just let them burn to ash. And you keep walking.